After studying this module, you shall be able to know about demand analysis, identify the constituents of demand, understand the different methods of demand analysis, evaluate factors of market demand. To begin with, demand analysis and market analysis are basically two sides of the same coin. The two are interlinked and connected to each other to a great extent. It is a study of different factors influencing the demand or quantity to be demanded based on the project. In other words, the market for a project is the result of inference derived from demand analysis, whereas the market in effect is dependent on its demand. One must have in-depth understanding of demand. How to analyze and ascertain demand forms the basic platform for the implementation of a project, its growth potential. A proper knowledge and awareness to different components of demand is required. To find the uniqueness of the market demand, in number different mathematical and statistical methods are used. However, there are limitations in using the various mathematical tools as their usability will depend upon the demand analysis of the project being implemented. Thus, it defines the boundaries and future scope of expansion and growth potential related to the project based on the information and facts generated through the analysis.
We will start with the discussion of demand analysis. In this, we will talk about concept, meaning, and market demand. We will start with the discussion of the concept of demand. Demand analysis about a project is to ascertain the demand and supply related issues with reference to economic resources available for the chosen project. Demand analysis is more of an economic analysis with a focus towards the market and its projection and its relevance in the future. As a product or service made available through a project and it is exchanged in the market, its demand is dependent upon the demand and supply constraints or opportunities as perceived by the users and suppliers in the market. If the investor draws an inference based on these studies that the project is viable, then the project is accepted and implemented. Whether a project is relevant or not will depend upon the market demand of its outputs, which consist of supply and demand in the market. It is a vital consideration in demand. Apparently, a project idea may be very good initially and may seem to have a large potential in the future, though in reality it may turn out to be a minuscule figure or at times may be irrelevant by the time it is available in the market. Market and demand analysis go simultaneously for finalization of the project chosen and its future potential. Under the meaning of demand analysis, we will talk about the meaning of demand and supply. Demand analysis is majorly based on quantity and price, which are further dependent on a wide spectrum of factors. Quantity as supply of raw material, technology available, government policy, environment factors, demand of finished product or service. Nowadays, quality parameters are of quite concern. Quantity as expected to be demanded in market as output is further dependent on what price is it made available. A systematic analysis of demand and supply is of utmost need. Demand, supply. First, we will discuss about demand. In economic term, demand is majorly analyzed on the basis of following factors. Px, which is equals to the price of product, y, which is the real income, T, which represents preferences and taste of users, PR represents the price of related product, and N represents population, which can be represented by the way mathematical equation as D is equals to Px plus Y plus T plus PR plus N. The supply is considered on following factors. Px is equals to price of product. C is the capacity of supplier or project. I is the price of inputs of production. G is technology. TS are the taxes and subsidies. This can be represented by way mathematical equation as S is equals to Px plus C plus I plus G plus TS. The market demand for a project can be summarized as the sum total of the individual demands. As per economic theory, effective demand is always equals to prospective supply in a perfect competition market where the products are available homogeneously and the market information is accessible fully and freely to everyone in the real time. In a market, suppliers compete to utilize the scarce available resources in most productive manner so as to provide product or service capable enough to satisfy the prospective demand requirement. The project output as product or service is capable enough to provide the desired benefits to the users as inputs demanded. Therefore, quantity demanded must be equals to quantity supplied, which says that Px plus Y plus T plus PR plus N is equals to Px plus C plus I plus G plus Ts. To have an in-depth and broader understanding of the market demand, it requires complete analysis and the study of different components of demand. Thus, the total aggregate demand is dissected into following parameters: nature of project or product or service, supply and competition, nature of consumer, government policy, price factor, geographical considerations, environmental factors. The primary component of any type project is the output in the form of product or service made available to the end user depending on their desired requirements. Project. It depends on the size of the project, whether it is large or small, which further depends on the type of technology being used. The investment constraints are also a critical factor in determining the company policy. Product or service. A proper description and detailing of the nature and type of the product is required, which is generally based on the inputs to be used, such as raw materials, semi-finished materials, and finished outputs. Whether the product is generic or specific in nature, level of automation, distribution aspects on which the project present demand and projected demand to be in future is analyzed. Next is the supply and competition. This defines the market value as well market volume in reference to the products offered in a market to be derived from the chosen project where it's implemented. It is proven in the market that supply creates competition and competition affects supply in a market. So, a project is to be considered with reference to the finished products as outputs and other economic resources as inputs. Whether information related to resources, location, capacity utilization, cost structures with reference to a chosen project is readily available or not is to be checked. Competition plays a very critical role. A proper analysis of available substitutes or replacement product offering available through competitor, relative change in prices, quality aspects, and marketing promotional activities is required as they act as a milestone to measure the growth of project in the future. Next, we will talk about the nature of consumer. The consumer may be domestic consumer or international consumer or industrial consumer. Domestic consumer may be further subdivided on the basis of income or regional basis, culture, age group, perceptions, preference, and attitudes, etc. Industrial consumers can be based on different industries such as large, medium, or small. The next is the government policy. The demand and market are impacted by the existing or changes in different government policies of the potential products and availability of their technology. This relates to the government policies, laws, plans, and their impact on the chosen project process and operations. These may be through trade control measures, excise duty, custom duty, credit facility, subsidies made available, or penalties of different types in relation to different industry based on the economic factor considerations. The quality of the project, its output as products, is of much consideration from government as well as its users. Next is the price factor. A project and its potential are to a great extent dependent on the information related to the price of the offering. Thus, price may be based on the manufacturing cost, average retail price, wholesale prices, or price of the imported products. Next, we will talk about the geographical considerations. The project market may be segregated on the basis of the geographies such as domestic market demand, further subdivided into regional areas. International market consumer as based on different global regions and their preferences and socio-cultures aspects. The last is the environmental factors. In today's scenario, the environmental and sustainable aspects of a project are of quite concern. They are mainly related to not only optimal use of resources, but these are used in best possible productive outputs and minimum wastages. A lot of global awareness and public concern is towards natural resources and how they are put to use in a project. Next, we will discuss about the methods of demand forecasting. Once the information is available for market and demand through different sources, they are analyzed to project the future demand. For their proper analysis, various statistical methods are used to forecast the demand. Qualitative methods, time series methods, econometric methods, other methods. The first one is the qualitative methods. Such methods are judgmental forecast based on experience and judgment and not on mathematical or statistical approach. The experts put efforts to convert the qualitative facts and figures into quantitative figures. First one is jury of experts. It is one of the most commonly used method. Views of different experts of an subject to future estimates are put together to generate a common number, estimated sales, outputs, profit from a project. Advantages. This method is quick to generate demand forecast. It takes into consideration different factors impacting a project like consumer preference, technology, and competitive environment. Disadvantage. It is exposed to biases of the experts which cannot be proven. Reliability of the method is questionable. The second one is Delphi method. Under this method, the experts do not interact with each other physically, rather, through an interactive process, they are given a set of questions through mail and their opinions are gathered. These are summarized based on the opinions as expressed earlier by experts and again sent back to them. The process is repeated till a common reasonable consensus is generated based on the views of experts. Advantage. Comparatively, it is a less expensive method. It's an intelligent approach. They are more accurate and less prone to biases. Disadvantage. The validity of the expert views is questionable as they are provided with pre-fed options and solutions. The next is the time series methods. These forecast methods are basic tools for time series analysis based on political, economic, or behavioral factors as these are considered to be stable. This leads to creation of a pattern which is analyzed based on the past data to generate a model or approach to predict the project outcome in future. These statistical methods are based on the data drawn from the past information and reckoning potential future figures on the following aspects. Estimating consumption pattern based on past consumption data. Through extrapolation of the trend one can project future consumption. Trend projection method, moving averages method, exponential smoothing method. Trend projection method. Consumption patterns may be estimated based on any of the following methods. Linear equation. Yt is equals to A plus Bt. Exponential equation. Yt or its logarithms function equation or conversion. Polynomial equation. Yt. Cobb-Douglas equation. Yt is equals to A plus log Yt is equals to log A plus B log T, where in the illustrated equations, Yt is demand for year T, time variable and AB are constant variables. Moving averages method. By using this method, one aims to forecast the demand of market for the future period based on the available information based on past data. Demand is equals to A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus so on plus AN divided by N, where A1, A2, A3 till AN are the demand figures for the current period. N is the period for which average is calculated. Demand is equals to demand forecast for the future period. Exponential smoothing method. The forecasts are adjusted for taking into consideration observed errors for a given period T in case dt is less than the actual sales value for period T. Ft is forecast for the future period T plus 1. dt plus 1 would higher than dt. dt is greater than Ft in case less than dt. Therefore, dt plus 1 is equals to dt plus alpha ET. For choosing the value of alpha, value is between 0 and 1 and should be selected as mean square error. 1 by n is equals to summation dp minus fp to the power 2, where dt plus 1 is the forecast for period t plus 1, alpha is smoothing parameter which lies between 0 and 1, et is the error in forecast for the period t is equals to ft minus dt, dp is equals to actual value for period p, fp is equals to forecast value for period p, and n is the number of periods for sample. Econometric models. Single equation model. dt is equals to c0 plus c1 into pt plus c2 into yt, where dt is the demand for a certain product in period year t. pt is the price for the product in year t. yt is the income in year t. Simultaneous equation model takes into consideration two or more equations. For example, a simplified three-equation econometric model equation for an economy of a nation as GNT is equals to GT plus XT plus YT. This is equation 1. XT is equals to C0 plus C1 into GNT. This is equation 2. And YT is equals to D0 plus D1 into GNT. This is equation 3, where GNT is equals to gross national product for year T, GT is the governmental purchases for year T, XT is the gross investment for year T, and YT is the consumption for year T. Other methods. For demand forecast, other methods may also be used depending upon the availability of the data and information. These methods can be any one of these end-use method, leading indicator method, income elasticity of demand, price elasticity of demand, chain ratio method, and consumption level method. Other methods may be used in case where no leading indicators are available or lead-lag relationship might not be stable over given future period. At times, it may be difficult to estimate the future expected outputs of a selected project. Causal forecast approach in case of nature of causal relationship is properly known, the relationship is stable over the time period, the causal variables are difficult to predict. Next, we will discuss about the consideration for information and data. The demand forecast is exposed to errors and uncertainty because of past and present data of the market, forecasting methods used, environmental changes. The reason for errors may be because of many factors which are as follows. Non-standardization. Different data related to product, price, inputs, outputs, quantity, income, cost, etc. do not have any uniformity and consistency. Abnormal factors impact. Example of abnormal factors can be because of terrorist attack, public unrest, or natural calamity like drought or floods, etc. Limited facts and observations. At times, the analysis is based on a few observations as available which make the future forecast not of much significance. Unrealistic assumptions. The different assumptions for estimation and projection may be erroneous and incorrect at times. Large and excessive data needs. For large projects and their future projections, a lot of data is required, which at the time of analysis is not available most of the time. Changes. Change as in government policy, technological changes may cause the analysis not of much significance. Discovery of new methods, substitutes and material. In future, there may be discovery of new materials or methods. How they would impact and affect the project cannot be estimated as of today. Global factors. International bilateral trade treaties may cause unforeseen changes. It is difficult to analyze qualitative factors in number. Next, we will talk about the uniqueness of demand analysis. A good demand analysis of any project is unique and separate as each project is identified and evaluated based on the parameters and factors affecting it. Therefore, for a project, demand analysis to be effective and worthy enough, following aspects need to be there. Realistic. The analysis should be as realistic as possible. Error-free. Analysis should be error-free, as errors may occur due to collection of information and data because of other factors impacting a project. Flexible. The analysis should be capable enough to incorporate the future changes as and when they happen. Easy to use. It should be easy and simple to use. Understandable. It should be simple to comprehend and easy to understand. Complete. The analysis should fully and completely take into consideration all the related and relevant aspects of the project. There are limitations to demand analysis such as uncertainty. Future is always uncertain. No one can completely predict to forecast. Thereby, it affects the estimate outcomes to be not proper. Accuracy of demand forecast is also exposed to errors of collection and selection of the components of demand. Cost benefits trade-off or analysis based on investment as well financial analysis of the project. Time factor at analysis point, some features seem to appeal, but in reality, they may not be that much effective reason being the time factor constraints. Level of data and information. Details concerned in relation to the project may not be available. Proper identification and formulation of the assumptions. If it is not done properly, it may lead to ineffective analysis of demand. Sensitivity analysis. How to measure the impact of the changes in each variable may become difficult. What is the difference between the actual outcome and the estimated projected output?
Let us now summarize what we have learned in this module. A good demand forecast should take into consideration all the significant and relevant assumptions related to the project with reference to the scale of operation of project chosen and most probable estimates outcome in the future. Though an analyst collects correct information with utmost care and diligence, still how the project may turn out to be in real time situation is quite difficult. A lot depends on how the demand analysis is conducted with proper identification of relationships and trends projections with taking into consideration extraordinary item of informations and incorporating their effect. The analysis need to be proper and uniform. It should be done with consideration to the future uncertainties and environmental changes and its impact on competition and market arrangements. Demand analysis requires critically analyzing the assumptions and methods of forecast and their usability with reference to the project selected and its target market. With reference to the project selected and its target market. The analysis must be adjusted and fine-tuned by the use of different methods of mathematical and statistical techniques. Most importantly, it is necessary to build and consider alternate options for the market because of the changes and variations that might turn out in the future.